Hi, welcome to Ray at the Movies, and today we're going to do the 4K review of Poltergeist. This movie came out September 20th, 2022, so last year. I actually bought this because it was on sale for 10 bucks. And if I'm not mistaken, this movie normally costs more because it's in 4K. A lot of the movies in 4K sadly cost a lot, but that's okay. Now we're going to go into the movie a little bit. The movie was released June 4th, 1982. And it stars JoBeth Williams from Kramer vs. Kramer, Stir Crazy, The Big Chill, Teachers, Craig T. Nelson, All the Right Moves, Action Jackson, Turner and Hooch, Creature, The District TV series, Patrice Strait, Network, The Promise, Bloodline, Dominic Dunn, The Shadow Riders, Unit 4, Oliver Robbins, Airplane 2, the sequel, Poltergeist 2, The Other Side, Heather O'Rourke, Poltergeist 2, Poltergeist 3, Richard Lawson, Dirty Harry, Scream Blacklist Scream, Sugar Hill, Coming to America, Zelda Rubinstein, 16 Candles, Poltergeist 2, Poltergeist 3, James Karen, Capricorn 1, The China Syndrome, The Return of the Living Dead, Return of the Living Dead Part 2, The Willies, sequels and remakes, Poltergeist 2, The Other Side, 1986, Poltergeist 3, 1988, Poltergeist, 2015. The budget for this movie was only $10.7 million. It grossed domestically $77 million and internationally $52 million to a grand total of $121.7 million worldwide. Directed by Tobe Hooper, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Eaten Alive, The Funhouse, Life Force, Invaders from Mars, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Produced by Frank Marshall, who is known for directing The Mist, Shawshank Redemption, and The Green Mile. Steven Spielberg, who has directed Jurassic Park, Lost World, Jurassic Park, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, just to name a few. Story by Steven Spielberg. Music by Jerry Goldsmith. The Omen, Alien, Gremlins, Explorers. Production companies MGM, Evelyn Entertainment. Distributed by MGM, United Artists. Makeup department, Dorothy J. Pearl. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1941. Tootsie, Craig Richardson. Altered States, The Funhouse, Dreamscape, Tony Ann Walker, Tootsie, Scarface, Father of the Bride. Special effects, Jeff Jarvis, The Exorcist 2, The Heretic, Blade, Blue Thunder, Amityville 3D, Firestarter, Cat's Eyes, Short Circuit, Michael Wood, Amityville 3D, Firestarter, Inner Space. Visual effects by Industrial Light and Magic. Trivia: Dominic Dunn and Heather O'Rourke are buried at the same cemetery in Westwood Memorial Park in Los Angeles. Both of the terrors that plague Robbie came from Steven Spielberg's own fears as a child, a fear of clowns and a tree outside his window. At around 43 minutes, when Steve tells the parapsychiatrists his family members' ages, he says that Dana, his oldest daughter, is 16 and his wife, Diane, is 32. Many viewers interpret that means that Diane only was 16 when she gave birth to Dana. However, the novelization of the film clarifies that Diane is Steve's second wife and that Dana is actually Diane's stepdaughter. In the movie, when telling the parapsychiatrists about his family, Steve specifically says, "My daughter, Dana," and not "our daughter, Dana." James Karen at the time was also the commercial spokesman for Pathmark supermarkets. He received hate from people saying they would never shop there again because of his character's treatment of the Freelings. Drew Barrymore was considered for the role of Carol Ann, but producer Steven Spielberg wanted someone more angelic. It was Drew Barrymore's audition for the role, however, that landed her the part of Gertie in E.T. the Extraterrestrial. The house used in the film that this movie is located in, Semi Valley, California, where it still stands today, the family who owned it sold it in May of 2009. Real human skeletons were used in the swimming pool scene, since the crew decided it would be too complicated and expensive to get fake ones. JoBeth Williams was not made aware of this until after the scene was finished. At around 34 minutes, there is a jump cut from the scene where Diane is explaining to Steven about the feelings you get when the spirit pulls you across the floor. The scene jumps mid-sentence to the scene where they are both in front of the neighbor's doorstep again, and in mid-sentence, the reason is the cutscene was because in the original scene, Steve says how he hates Pizza Hut. The scene was edited rather crudely after Pizza Hut took offense. At around 14 minutes in one scene, Steve and Diane Fillins are in their bedroom and a movie, A Guy Named Joe, 1943, is playing on their television. Not only is the movie about a dead person who is still hanging around, as the spirits in this film are, but Steven Spielberg would remake A Guy Named Joe 7 years later as Always in 1989. Heather O'Rourke was chosen for the film when she was eating lunch with her mother and sister at an MGM commissary. Producer Steven Spielberg came up to them and wanted O'Rourke for the part of Carol Ann. She intentionally failed the screen test because she kept laughing her way through the audition, even when she was supposed to be afraid. Spielberg thought she was too young for the part to take seriously. He still recognized something special in her, so he asked her to come back another audition, this time bring a scary book with her. He also asked her to scream, so she screamed and screamed until she started crying. This audition got her cast as Carol Ann. Forgive me, I'm reading very fastly to try to get all this done, so I might make some missteps or mispronunciations. There was a DirecTV commercial in 2008 that affectionately parodied the film. Craig T. Nelson reprised the role of Steve Freeland, complaining to Carol Ann and the audience that the static on the TV set is just bad cable reception, and equips not getting rid of cable. That's gonna come back to haunt me. Heather O'Rourke's family was pleased with the ad for keeping her memory alive. Originally, as Tobe Hooper, Steven Spielberg, and the screenwriters were plotting out the screenplay, Carol Ann was going to be killed in the first act and haunt the house in the second. They eventually decided that this was too dark and opted to have her kidnapped by the ghosts. In fact, eventually, so many of the dark elements were removed because Steven Spielberg wanted a PG rating so that the film could run as a double feature in theaters with the concurrently released E.T. the Extraterrestrial. So much so that there was only one death, Tweety the Bird, in the final movie, and only a couple of injuries. The clown puppet used in the film is on display in Planet Hollywood in Caesars Palace, Los Angeles. The film was originally given an R rating from the MPAA due to scenes of a child in peril. Despite little gore in the film was lowered to PG on appeal. The film predates the PG-13 rating by 2 years, which is the rating this film would have had if it was released now. At around 16 minutes, Tenga said, "This house has many hearts." Literally, there are heart-shaped items all over, like the heart lamp, a heart stack on the wall, and a heart poster and green heart balloon in the children's bedroom. In reality, Craig T. Nelson and JoBeth Williams are only 15 years apart and 11 years apart older than Dominic Dunn, who played their teenage daughter. Zelda Rubinstein filmed her part in 6 days. Steven Spielberg hired Tobe Hooper after being impressed with his work on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. In addition to the 2 times that the beast appeared in the movie, the face that appeared in the closet, and the creature the kid's door, the script had it appearing during the scene where the family and investigators are looking at the tapes of the main man infestation. The giant ghost that they saw visually slowly resolve itself into the image of a face of a cruel old man known in the sequels as Reverend Henry Kane. Joe Beth Williams had a supernatural experience during the making of the film. Whenever she came home from filming, the pictures on the walls of her house were crooked. Every time she fixed them, they would hang crooked again. Zelda Rubinstein also had an experience when a vision of her dog came to her and said goodbye to her. Hours later, her mother called and told Rubinstein that her dog had passed away that very day. One of the earliest films to deal with EVP, electronic voice phenomenon. The film came from Steven Spielberg's failed attempt to do a sequel to Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Stephen King was briefly approached to write the screenplay. It would have been the first written by King directly for the screen, but the parties could not agree on the terms. This film and E.T. the Extraterrestrial were filmed within 20 minutes of each location. Zelda Rubinstein supposedly had a genuine psychic ability, claiming to have visions of things before they happened. Joe Spano was originally cast as family patriarch Steve Freeling, but was starring in Hill Street Blues, 1981, at the time, and creator Stephen Bacco wouldn't let him out of his contract. Shirley MacLaine was offered a starring role in the film, but backed out in order to film Terms of Endearment. Let's see. I know there's. Okay. Novelization by Jonah Cassidy, Susan Sarandon, and Tuesday Wild were considered for the role of Diane Freeling, but turned it down. Okay, now, forgive me for that long show. I hope that 12 minutes is not bad. I really liked this movie, and the movie being in 4K turned out great. I really like the 4K. The colors pop. It looks fantastic. They have the previous special features. They're here. The Real World of Poltergeist documentary in 2 parts. Science of Spirits and Communicating with the Dead. And then, for the first time ever to be released on Blu-ray or 4K, The Making of Poltergeist. And then, of course, there's the original theatrical trailer. And here I'm going to read. They're here. Playful at first, but not for long. Little Carol Ann Freeland is whisked into a spectral void as her family confronts horrors galore. Something else is here too, a new benchmark in Hollywood ghost stories. Producer Steven Spielberg and Frank Marshall and director Tobe Hooper head the elite scream team behind the chiller classic. This is a great film. I really liked it. Steven Spielberg did a good job with the screenplay as well as the other screenwriters. And this film was fantastic. The whole cast is great. And as I said in the trivia, there was 2 more movies. Poltergeist 2 The Heretic, which was pretty good. Not Poltergeist 2 The Heretic. Excuse me. I just watched The Exorcist Believer and was thinking about doing a review on it. I haven't ruled that out yet. But I highly recommend that you get this movie in 4K. It is a great experience. They did a good job releasing this movie in 4K, Warner Brothers. And if you haven't picked up a copy, I suggest you do. You will not regret it. And hopefully my trivia and my information about the movie wasn't dry. It's the first time having to have such a long amount of trivia. Trust me, there was more, but I had to cut that down. And we're already going at 14 minutes and 15 seconds, so that's not bad. I thought this was going to be a 30-minute video. With that, I'm out of here, and I will see you. And with it being December, I might try to pick something that's a little bit more Christmassy. I don't know. I haven't decided. But I do have a backup movie that I saw last week that I already wrote up stuff for. And we might do that if I don't have any other ideas. With that, I'm out of here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you like my content, please subscribe and share. Thank you. I am out.